All right, so now we're looking at example 4. So we'll be in a new key, and by key, you want to think about where does the chord progression resolve. So if you play through these chords, even if you don't know a lot about music theory, what you're listening for is where the chord progression wants to come to a final rest. And what I often tell people is we have grown up with, generations, thousands of years of Western harmony. So whether it's pop songs, church hymnals, nursery rhymes, classical music, when we're talking about Western music, we're talking about a structure of like a scale, its resulting chords, and where everything ultimately wants to resolve. So there's this tension, inner tension between the notes of the scale and the resolve of the chords. So if you want to do more exploration in music theory, you should check out my music theory course. It's just tied to the major scale, the Nashville number system, and it shows you how chords are made. So I don't want to get too far into this here, but that would be a good course to check out. So this next example is in the key of B flat. So if I play a B flat major scale, that causes a lot of tension. That's the resolve. So even people that don't know anything about music, if I play that scale and stop on the 7th scale degree, they will respond. They'll kind of lean forward, or they'll kind of look at me, because they know it needs to go somewhere. So one of the ideas behind this course, and why I designed it this way, is to help you start to think about keys, chords in those keys, and the resolve of those chords. So I wanted to keep it pretty simple because these exercises are grouped with just 4 chords, and they're 4 primary chords in a key. So this is a great way for you to start developing your ear and having this internal sense of when something needs to keep moving. That will help you play more musically and dynamically within the chord progression, because you're helping to either accentuate that tension or resolve it, and the interplay between it is what helps propel a piece forward. So we'll do this one in B flat, and I thought we would do something a little more strummy this time. So if you're an acoustic player, this would be right up your alley, or a singer-songwriter. And it's also really effective in the studio to layer parts like this. So let's talk about the key of B flat. We find B flat in this neighborhood on the 3rd string. This is we're going to be working. So B flat's the 3rd fret. If you look at your neck diagram, 3rd fret, 3rd string, play the appropriate shape. So we're in root position because the B flat is the lowest note we're playing, right? And then in the same fret, 3rd fret, but on the 1st string, we find our G. We need a minor shape. So now that same B flat is the minor 3rd, the flatted 3rd of the G minor chord. So that B flat has an interesting function here. Here it's the root. Here it's the minor 3rd. So same bottom note, different function, how it relates to the underlying chord. Okay, now we're looking for a C. You could find a C in the 1st fret, and you'll find the G, but we can't get to an E flat on the 1st string because of the way the guitar is tuned. So we're going to find C on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and that's our root. So we play the appropriate shape for minor, a minor chord. Now we look for an F. We have an F back here in the 1st fret. Play the appropriate major shape for a major chord with a root on the 1st string. We get that F. So we have B flat, G minor, you could just bar if you want, C minor, F. And what I thought we would do here is this strum pattern. we'll do that 4 times through. And then on the 5th time through the progression, I thought we would try something a little new to accentuate or bring out more of what I was just talking about, how these notes function. So if you look at the chords we've been playing, this will be kind of an interesting little mind game, because now you will have to see the chords differently. Because I want to play everything on just strings 3 and 2. So if we're playing this B flat, you want to think about how you'll see the shapes differently. So if I'm playing this B flat, but I just do this, and then my G minor comes, I'm not going to play the first string. So I'm playing the same 2 notes, because remember, we have this and we have this. So you're not going to have to change shapes. You can if you want, if it's easier for you to kind of think about, but I might just stay there. So I might go my G minor, my C minor, my F, B flat, stay there, C minor, F. So by just taking away that top string, we change the sound of the part, and we change the sound of the guitar, because we're not playing a bright string. And now the way that we think about playing and the way that we hear the chord, like on the B flat, we don't have the 5th. On the G minor, we're not playing the root, the band is. So this makes it for some really cool parts, because sometimes if you just play a part that is static and everybody else moves, it adds to that inherent tension I was talking about. So we're going to do the strum thing, and then we're going to play the same chords, and I'm going to play a part that's just on strings 3 and 2, and then after that I might jump into like a jab thing on the 3rd time through the repeat. So it might be and I'm just strumming up on those chords. And on that, I don't even know that I'll hit the 3rd string. I might just hit strings 1 and 2, and notice with the G minor, that note stays the same. My F moves up to a G. And then for my C minor, I'm not playing the root. The band will, okay? And then so we'll try that. So we'll strum, down, down, up, down. We'll play notes on just strings 3 and 2, and then we'll do the up strum. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Here we go. One more. Jabs. Okay, so let's move up to this new neighborhood. We'll be at the 6th fret, and we'll find our root on the first string, the B flat, play the appropriate shape. That's our old F from down here, just moving it up. And then we look for a G in this neighborhood, so 2nd string, 8th fret, play the appropriate minor shape for root on the 2nd string. And then we need a C minor, so our old G minor from down here. We find C, 8th fret, 1st string. And then we need an F, so F, 2nd string, play the appropriate shape. So what we'll do here, we won't do the strummy thing that we did down here. So I'm going to mix it up a little on you, where we'll start with how we were doing the strings 3 and 2. We'll do that here. And what you'll see is if this is my B flat and I'm hitting strings 3 and 2, there's my G minor, right? So if I'm playing just the chord, and then I go to here, and then my C minor. But if you think about strings 2 and 3, you just have this. And then you could put, I'll probably put my pinky down. So I'm on notes G and D. Now that same G is in our C minor chord, but I'm going to add the minor third. So we're not playing the top string at all. Now, if you need to hold the full chord shape, because it's hard to take something that you just learned, which is just this 3-note triad, and kind of just get rid of one of the strings. So if you need to hold the whole chord, that's fine. And if you end up hitting all the strings, that's fine. You're not going to play any wrong notes. I just wanted to get you familiar with the idea of breaking things down even more simply and being interested in how these notes sometimes stay common between two chords, how they cause this cool tension, and then ultimately resolve, and how you can change your tone and your part by just avoiding one string. So it's a pretty cool effect the way it sounds in the track. So we'll do that thing. We're going to do the jabs that we did before, that kind of thing. And then the last time through the progression, I would like to kind of strum strings 1 and 2 together. That way it'll give you time to think about where you're going instead of being caught up in the rhythm. Okay, so let's try that now, and then we'll move up to the next neighborhood. So the strum part first, strings 3 and 2. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Jabs. One more time. Now, Okay, so let's move up to the next neighborhood at the 11th fret. So we have a B flat on the second string. We play the appropriate shape. Now we look for a G. It's going to be the 12th fret, third string. Play the appropriate minor shape for a root on the third string. And then we need a C minor. So C on the second string, 13th fret. Play the appropriate shape. And then F is down here at the 10th fret, third string. Okay, so I think what we'll do we'll go through the pattern 4 times. I just want you to strum once. That's it. We're just going to keep it really open and simple. And then the next on the repeat, we'll do that 4 times. And on the next time through, we're going to do this arpeggio thing. And we'll start on the third string and just go. So I'm just going 3, 2, 1, 2, and I'm pausing. 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2. So we'll do that 4 times through the progression, and then we're going to come back to this strumming of strings 3 and 2. And see that move I made right there? If this is my B flat on the strings 3 and 2, the B flat is still in there. Now it's a minor third. Now for the C minor, the G is still in there. It's just the 5th. So I don't have to move a whole lot. And again, if you want to play the full chords, that's fine. And if you want to not change as quickly as I do, just stay in one place, but make sure you come back and try these other concepts later. So even if you don't play what I'm playing, you'll be with me because you'll be playing the right chords. We'll just be playing probably a different rhythm or a different inversion, so that'll be fine. So take it at your own speed. So first time, strum each chord once. Then we do the arpeggio starting on string 3 and go 3, 2, 1, 2. And then we strum strings 3 and 2. Okay, so here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now we arpeggio. Now we strum. Okay, next we'll move on to doing things in 12/8. So same shapes, now that you've got them down, We're just going to do a couple in 12/8, and then we'll move on to number 5. Okay, now that we're in 12/8, I would like to move across all of the neighborhoods we just worked on. So I'm not going to change up the rhythm or the pattern on you this time. We'll start up high where we just were, and we're going to just do this arpeggio thing where we go 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, change chords, change. So we'll cycle through the progression 4 times, then we shift down to here and do the same thing. And then we're going to come down here. And again, if the arpeggio thing is too hard because you have to worry about moving between the 3 neighborhoods, just keep it simple on yourself. Just strum. And you just strum at one time. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but you do have to change chords when we need to change chords. And I would like you to try changing all 3 neighborhoods. That will be a great test for you to see if you really know the shapes, even if you're just strumming once, like how to find these different shapes in 3 different places. That's really the point. And then of learning the neck and understanding the concepts, you can come back later and try different rhythms, different arpeggios. I think that's a little less important than making sense of the triads in this neighborhood concept. So I'll arpeggiate. If you want to just strum, if you want to arpeggiate with me, if you want to make up your own pattern, that's fine. But we're going to start at the 11th fret, 6th fret, 3rd fret. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4. Last time. Move down. Move down. Okay, so I've been using the 12/8 exercises to kind of mix it up and move them around more because we've been playing through the changes on the 4/4 stuff. So I want to continue with that idea of moving through the neighborhoods more. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start down low where we left off on the last one. We're just going to strum each chord twice. So, but here's the kicker. We're only going to do it twice in a neighborhood. So twice, 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 twice. So that takes us 6 times through. And then we're going to stay up here and we're going to work our way down. We're going to do jabs, jabs, jabs. So that'll take us to the end. So the jabs would be, I think we'll jab twice. So strum twice, jab twice. We're going to start low, go up high, stay high, work our way down. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move. Move. Jab. Move. Move. Okay, so you can see that you could spend, there could be like multiple lessons just in one of these single lessons. So I think you should break it down, pick one rhythm to do. If this isn't making sense and you're feeling behind or it's starting to feel overwhelming, use the backing track to your advantage. Use the concepts that we've talked about, the idea of moving, the arpeggios, the simple strum. It doesn't matter. Like, you could spend a week on just one of these keys and doing it different ways in different neighborhoods, staying put, not moving until you're ready. So this is about exposure to concepts, learning the neck, and really starting to think about what you can do as a singer-songwriter to create ideas, to maybe add your own guitar parts to your own demos at home, or when you're playing with other people, or as someone that's functioning in a band with another guitar player, or doing stuff in the studio or playing live, layering these kind of guitar parts. You will hear it everywhere, and it is super important. So take your time with it. Don't move on until you're ready, because there's a lot of information here. So I'm going to reset and get ready for the next key. So we'll jump into exercise number 5, and it's time for Walter's lunch. So perfect timing. All right, I'll see you in a little bit.